and salutations from Guillermo, my friend, Tony on the camera, and I am Teddy Tarr, one of your neighborhood psychologists. We're kind of going to talk about all of the videos, kind of summing them up and using our self-talk today. That's what this is going to be about, sort of a wrap-up. But first, I got threatened. I want you to know that Guillermo decided to threaten me. He said he was going to ask me a question that I didn't know the answer to. And I started thinking there were a lot of questions I don't know the answer to. In fact, it's a very small repertoire that I could answer. But I'm starting with a question for you. I have a riddle.
Wow.
Why is the flag of the United States more enduring than that of France, Italy, Ireland, or Scotland?
What is the flag of the United States more enduring?
Enduring. So why does it last longer than the lily may fade, and the leaves decay. The rose from its bloom may sever. The shamrock and thistle may pass away, but the stars will shine forever.
Wow.
You like that?
I love that, but you know what? Now I know why we switched from Monday to Friday this week, because you had time to prepare yourself so much better. Wow, that was awesome.
Monday's a holiday. I knew I couldn't get you on Monday. Your busy life. Okay, so we're gonna get started here.
That was nice.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how do I know I need a makeover or on a growth trait?
Okay, so how would you know that you need videos and you need new learning and you need to be a lifelong learner? Well, nothing like a self-inventory. If you have periods that you're fearful or sad or feel very hopeless, or you feel your world is out of control and never be okay, or you're angry about things, guess what? You probably need to do some inner work, and you can do that by yourself. This corona has hit everybody, not equally, certainly not equally. But if you're irritable, you feel hopeless, or you extreme lack of self-control, or you're using addictions, you're using a lot of addictions, those are indicators that perhaps it would be good to either seek some help, talk to a friend, talk to a spiritual advisor, go online, look for some information. Resiliency, certainly our genes has a lot to do with how resilient and hardy we are. 50% probably is our genetic makeup. Probably 20% is what happens to us and how we handle it, and 30% is life and how it goes one way or the other. So we don't have 100% control over anything. But hardiness encourages us to use coping, building skills, utilizing a social support, and engaging in self-care, good health, and good practices. So good coping and problem solving, good social support, knowing who to go to. I think social support is knowing who to go to for what we need.
I agree with that, yes.
Yeah,
Because it's
different
important
people.
that you're aware who can really listen and help, and who is not interested in what you're saying or even helping you.
Who doesn't have a negative agenda.
Right.
Also, I know sometimes if we tell too much, people will throw it back in our face. Later on, they'll be irritated with us or something, so you want to be careful not to go to a person like that. So, today is going to be about your best self and your self-talk. Different aspects of ourselves that we present different selves to the world. We don't present the same self to everyone. And different folks see us differently and experience us in unique ways. Okay, so I thought maybe we'd start with a little bit about having some of these mechanisms, resiliency, hardiness, means hardiness.
So you want me to read the resiliency mechanism?
Just, what I did was I tried to just put an underline on the things I thought were important.
Very simplified. As stressful circumstances mount, so does the physical and mental strain on the individual. And if this strain is sufficiently intense, and prolonged, breakdowns in health and performance are to be expected. In short, the personality style of hardiness is proposed to have a moderating effect on this process by encouraging effective mental and behavioral coping, building and utilizing social support, and engagement in effective self-care and health practices.
Okay, so what happens is, when we get stressed out, we rely on the coping we have. If we've never had anything happen to us and it's a very new thing, let's say we're in our early 20s, then we rely a lot on how our family of origin handle things.
Reading that, I think it's important when you start seeing yourself not taking care of yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's a sign that you need some support.
Except right now, if you're not going to the beauty shop and
No,
the
right.
nail shop every week as before, you might forgive yourself.
Cognitive appraisals. According to Gobasa, individuals high in hardiness tend to put stressful circumstances into perspective and interpret them in less threatening manner. As consequence of these optimistic appraisals, the impact of the stressful events is reduced and they're less likely to negatively affect the health of the individual.
Okay, what's important here is how, it's not what always is happening, it's how we see it. For instance, if you tend to be pretty introverted and you've always worked from home, or you couldn't wait to work from home, you're probably happy to be home, working from home, and being in your house and not being out much. Now, you cannot compare yourself with someone who's highly social, who belonged to the garden club, the book club, and had a lot of friendships, went to lunch all the time, loved restaurants. And I will admit it, I'm in here all the time. This was not a big change.
I have made a big change because I'm the opposite of her.
Yes, you're out all the time.
I'm out all the time.
That's why we're together today, so you will understand different strokes, different folks, and different ways of managing it. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How do you manage it? How do you manage the restrictions?
Well, I think you adjust. I think life is all about adjustments. You learn to adjust for whatever time frame you have to, and you do other things. For example, I notice in my office, I have people working from home, I have people working in the office. All of a sudden, people from home wants to get back to work. And,
Yeah.
and some of them wants to stay home. So now,
Nobody's happy.
nobody's happy because, like you said, some people are more shy, they rather work home. Other people need the people to be around.
That's right.
And that's an interesting thing.
Absolutely. Same thing with restaurants. I tend to order a baked potato, since I'm a vegetarian, I tend to order a baked potato and a salad. Well, that isn't something I can't put together here, or anywhere for that matter. So I'm not as, as keen on going out as someone else might be. I'm not a movie person. And
Right.
I tend to value, since I'm with people all day long, I tend to value my time alone. I would never begin to compare myself with, and I'm sitting here with 22-year-olds, 24-year-olds, and what they're going through,
No, it's totally different.
trying to understand it.
Behavioral coping. The coping style most commonly associated with hardiness is that of transformational coping, an optimistic style of coping that transforms stressful events into less stressful ones.
Okay, don't believe for a minute that before the election, during the election, or right after the election, during the holidays, we're going to have this magical potion come down, and everybody is going to take it, and we will all be in a life that's different from this one. Folks, that isn't happening. 22% of our population says they'll never take the vaccine. And by the way, vaccines do not cure anything. Vaccines do not cure one thing. Vaccinations cure, not the vaccine. Just having a vaccine, you have to have people willing to get vaccinated. It's probably going to take a couple of shots of something. And by the way, not only those 22%, probably 20% of your friends won't take it, are going to wait to see how many people have some kind of outcomes that are negative.
Absolutely.
All right, so what we're going to have, a lot of tiptoeing around whatever it is. Trying to sell it is going to be market it. I think they're going to have to market it just like they would market a product.
Yeah, they're gonna have to really market it because, like you said, there's a big percentage of the population that don't want to take it.
Since I'm on staff at Baptist Hospital, I always figure that I'll be there taking that vaccine. It'll probably hit the market at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 8:15 I'll have an email that says I have to show up. I'm preparing myself. But basically speaking, you know, it's going to be a tough sell, because we're in a world where there's a lot of suspicion.
Oh, yes.
Especially if the Democrats put out all the Republicans should take it, and the Republicans put out all the Democrats should take it. So now we have red and blue packaging. That might be a little suspicious.
Well, let's take an example.
Yeah.
The flu vaccine.
Yes, good example.
Flu vaccine is available to everybody, but not everybody does it.
No.
And still, even with the vaccine, we have certain percentage of the population die of the flu every year. So it's not a guarantee that the vaccine is going to be a cure for all.
I believe what we should do is make the rest of the world take it.
Test them first.
Put it in like M&M candy wrappers or something like that. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, social resources and health promoting behavior. The concept of transformational coping can be extended to also include health promoting behavior and recruiting of making adequately use of social resources. These results were taken to suggest that hardy individuals know what type of support to use in a given situation. On the other hand, one study examined a broader array of health protective behaviors, including exercise, and found that hardiness worked indirectly through these behaviors to influence health. Another study also found that hardiness was negatively correlated with self-reported alcohol use and drug use obtained through body urine screens and self-report.
I have to tell you, early research on almost all the drugs, and certainly 100 years ago, in the 1900s, whatever, every time they came out with a drug, who did they test? Prisoners, very, very poor people.
Volunteers.
But really, it was the very, very poor that they tested. And that is one of the problems today. You have to get volunteers, and you have to match them. Fortunately, we don't do that today. They have to be matched with a regular population that is going to be taking the drug or whatever, other than the hospital, like I said, where I'm probably going to have it early on. You can call me and find out whether or not I've had it, and I'm still alive. But seriously speaking, that it's going to be an issue. It was an issue with the flu vaccine, like you said. Not everybody's had it.
Not everybody's taking it.
They have a new vaccine for shingles.
And nobody does it.
1 and 2, shots 1 and 2. Okay, the old one, I think, was about 50% effective, and perhaps if you got it in the other 50%, it would be a less difficult strain. Well, guess what? Or less complications. Well, guess what? A lot of people haven't taken that either.
People don't take it.
So it's not, it's not like 100% of people are going to line up. It's going to take a while.
One thing I noticed in this, what I read, is that some people need exercise to control their stress level.
Yeah.
I know that I like exercising.
I think it's good.
Other people don't, but it's whatever makes you happier, like controlling your stress and anxiety. Anything that can help you, that is positive, it's a good thing.
Playing games on the computer that you normally don't play. Doing unique things. All those things help. Okay, do you want to read this on managing emotions? Especially negative ones.
Okay, managing emotion, especially negative ones. 1, clean up your self-talk through feelings and thoughts instead of attacking yourself. Do not put things in print without much thought.
Oh, yes.
That's what my dad always told me.
Yes.
Don't put anything in writing because that stays forever.
Yeah, not too long ago, I've had really, really bad emails. And then what happens is, once somebody either gets A, sober, or B, feels better, then I get the email that says, oh, I can't believe I sent that to you. I didn't mean that. I want to make an appointment. I'm sitting there thinking, okay.
Number 3, physical and bullying attacks are also harmful to all parties.
Yes.
Your anger, write it out, identify the losses involved, recognize your choices, run it by a close friend or family member. Friends help us make good decisions.
But we still have to be careful who we talk to about certain things. If you have a friend who's always feeling sick, always getting sick, and has a tendency to always pick up things, you don't want to talk about your ailments. Not a good idea.
No.
They're going to go right to theirs. So you got the questions, I'll have the answers here.
You always have the answers.
Yeah, right.
I just have to get better at the questions.
I think I have something on flattery in here. I'll have to.
What about individuals who have seemed to not be emotionally present?
Okay, it's a real problem sometimes. I would look at whether or not they're that way with other people. Is it only with us? If that's so, maybe they don't have a voice. Maybe every time they start to talk, we won't accept what they have to say, and they learn then not to share with us. That's a possibility. So we need to look at ourselves and see if we're stopping the conversation, or whether they're just the type of person that doesn't share emotionally.
How about people that are talkers?
Well, sometimes they can drive you nuts if they're heavy-duty talkers. I had somebody in here one time that talked the whole time and got to the last 5 minutes, and I said to him, "You've talked so much, I only have 5 minutes." They brought a roll of gray tape the next time and put it on the desk.
So
It was kind of embarrassing, to say the least. It was very poor on my part. Okay, so the intellectualizer's checklist. Distant, unable to be emotionally intimate. Yeah, sometimes people, and you know what, people have been hurt or through a lot of traumatic experiences will sometimes do that. In other words, they overanalyze all their situations. So they're not so emotionally drawn as cognitively living their lives. Disconnected, they can be unconnected, disconnected with their emotions, proud of their intellectual achievements. Unable to identify emotions in self or others. Highly defended. Very highly defended.
How about, okay, I got another question for you. How
All
about
right.
those people who keep everything inside and never share?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so hard in therapy even to
Okay.
pull somebody out. There's not much you can do. They're not usually a candidate for going to somebody. They do better on their own, giving them resources, making suggestions. They have limited or non-existent emotional presence. You almost feel like they don't care. If you say something, they don't care.
And they don't answer your questions.
No,
You can ask and they just,
they're not going to answer.
they don't answer.
No, or you get one brief answer. You send a paragraph and they'll text back one message, thanks. Okay. You know, the world's on fire, do you need any help? Thanks. They can become distant or cold, extremely tight boundaries, poor communication skills. If you happen to have a family like that, it's very hard to bring somebody else in. They probably won't like the person you choose. You'd have to choose someone just like the family,
Wow.
who doesn't talk.
They don't want to get involved.
No, that works.
How about those who are self-absorbed?
Well, I can't say there are many of those people who are narcissistic today that are only into themselves, but once in a while you run into one. And in general, all their gratification is self-focused. They only receive and they don't give out a whole lot. They usually have one person that makes them happy. It's amazing to me. Unable to make emotional connections with others. Unable to recognize the emotions in others. Charming, confident, and manipulative. But in general, they don't make a whole lot of mistakes either. There are lots of times they're pretty self-focused and perfectionistic. And you can feel like they're right. If you're living with someone like, you can feel like they're right all the time, and you can begin to feel like you're not good enough. And that's where you need to start doing some help, getting some help. Because they see others only as a mirror of themselves. You can live with that person as long as you serve them. Highly defended, extremely tight boundaries for self and for others. They don't want any changes. If you suggest that you're going to do something, if you tell them you're going to move, you're going to quit, they're done with you.
They want to control things.
That's it, right. Now you've taken yourself out of their realm of control. Okay, I have a poem I got here, Loss of a Friend. You want to read that?
Sure. Dear friend, I remember way back when you became my friend. because you looked past the color of my skin. You were a true friend to me, a place in my heart. You will always be. We had shared a lot in the past. I had always thought that we had last. You were a real kind person, a friend that I always cared for. We were alike in many ways. I miss those days. Basketball was fun, even after the season was done. Fun and outgoing, that's the direction you were always running. We were known as the Twin Towers, because in many ways we were alike, especially your height. I wonder what went wrong, because now you're gone. Thank you for what you have left me, something no one can take away. It's called a memory.
Called a memory. Letitia Simmons.
Letitia Simmons.
You know, I think sometimes when we have to say goodbye to people, today you can keep in touch to a degree, but a lot of people move on and they don't bother. What about Mother Teresa? She has a poem also. I thought maybe you'd read anyway.
Well, you are a lot like Mother Teresa. Would you like to read it yourself? Yucky.
Okay. Wait. I knew this was going to be a tough video. All right. So some people are often unreasonable, illogical, self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, we will win some false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. What you spend years building, they may destroy overnight. Build it anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous and sworn. Be jealous, be joyous anyway. The good you do today, they often will forget. Tomorrow, do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. So you see, in the final analysis, it is between you and who? God?
And God.
And it was never between you and them. I always liked that. I thought
that poem has been around for a lot. A lot of people use that poem because it's so truthful.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to do a B part of this, how to improve our positive self-talk.
Go. Okay, Tita, what makes you happy?
YouTube?
YouTube? Okay, YouTube makes you happy. Robbie, what makes you happy? Yeah. Hey, Jaime, what makes you happy?
Okay, I say two things. One, when I play the game and I'm just being triggered, and mommy's special PB.
Aww. You like my peanut butter jellies?
Yep, because they're special.
Yay.
Wait, there's what makes you happy?
You did video games.
Oh, and so you can play Minecraft on Roblox.
Alright, Lori, what makes you happy? What makes you happy, Lola? Gracie, what makes you happy? Lori makes you happy?